Welcome to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, America's #1 podcast for new real estate investors, where we know that finding discounted properties is the most proven path to financial freedom. I am your host, Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, Mr. Talk to People, and I am telling you this: if I can do it, so can you. So let's get started. Are you in a market where you feel like the most you can make on your wholesale deals is $10,000, maybe $20,000, maybe you hit a home run and it is $25,000, and you feel very frustrated because maybe the price points don't feel very strong and you just can't break out and get these big, massive deals. And here in with the Rhino Tribe, with Wholesaling Inc., a massive deal is defined as something where you net wired into your bank account and or a big check for a minimum $50,000. That is a massive deal. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, because I've got these two guys that have brought a whole crew with them here to Phoenix, but these two guys out of Cleveland. And listen, if you've done business in Cleveland, you know you can buy properties for $10,000 in Cleveland all the way up to $1 million houses. But it depends on what you're going after and how you get the most out of every single opportunity. I think that this conversation is going to impact a lot of people. It is my pleasure to introduce Anthony Slane, Amr Alabsi, in the house, in the podcast studio. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming in from Cleveland.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us on.
Man.
I'm excited about this. So you started this journey, and then like a magnet, you started pulling in all your best friends, all the people that had the same kind of mentality that you have.
Right.
So where did you find wholesaling, and how did you start pulling on that thread and start taking action?
So I got into real estate, I'm going to say it was back in 2016.
Okay.
I got my license originally. I knew I wanted to get into real estate. I always knew that. So basically what happened was I got my license, and I was kind of working as an agent, but I always knew, like, I wanted to get more into investing, right? So I didn't really like to read books, and I'm like, man, how am I going to learn, like, if I can't read these books? And I'm like, I'm just going to listen to some podcasts. So I started searching up some podcasts. Next thing you know, I came across Wholesaling Inc. I listened to hundreds of testimonials, and I'm like, man, this obviously works. Right?
Yeah.
So this is what I got to do. So I signed up, and I think that was right around like 2017 or so. And I was by myself for about 2 years. And then this year we kind of got the team together.
Yep.
And we're just trying to do more and impact our community.
I love it. And how enlightening is it being a real estate agent and then finding, wait. You can wholesale? What is wholesaling? You can wholesale real estate? Wait, I'm not flipping it. No, it's not flipping. It's not doing all the repairs and picking out the colors and the doors and the fixtures and the appliances. But this is, I put a property under contract, I sell that contract, and all of a sudden I can make, way more than I can on commissions from traditional real estate, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you learn how to flip the piece of paper, But I mean, it still makes sense, It makes sense for someone to want to pay you that fee,
right?
Because you're adding value to them. They're going to get value out of that.
Yeah.
It's a win-win for everybody, and you get to help someone out of a distressed situation.
I love it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Hummer.
So I've been in the automotive sales industry almost over 10 years now, and sales in the automotive industry can really give you that crocodile skin that's needed in sales.
Sure.
And they brought me aboard. They're like, hey, we have this opportunity. We really need someone that has good, phone skills, good sales skills, and I think you'd be a perfect fit. I'm like, sure, I'll try it out. And then they said, we're wholesaling houses. I'm like, well, what is this? Like, I don't understand this.
Yeah.
And then they showed me how it worked, and I was just on board. I mean, it made perfect sense for me. I'm like, all right, I'm good on the phones. I'm good with people. I can go on these walkthroughs. I can, try and look at the properties, help people like get out of situations. Just like Anthony said, there are people that don't have time to deal with real estate agents, don't want to deal with real estate agents, and they just want a quick in and out. Just, hey, I just want to move this property and move to a different state. A lot of people do that too.
I love it. And I love it that you mentioned that you were in sales, because I think a lot of people think, well, sales, I'm not a salesman. I can't be a salesman. A salesman has like this weird kind of veneer on it that's like, I don't want to be labeled as that. But in fact, what all you're talking about is you effectively communicate with people and get past their force fields and their stiff arms and have a real conversation and see what their goal is and what they're trying to do.
Yep.
And you do that by asking questions.
Absolutely. Overcoming objections is number one.
Right.
That's all we do. That's
Right.
sales.
That's
Yep.
it.
That's
well,
it,
and listen, we all have that knee jerk. We all have that thing that's like, you go anywhere and somebody asks if they can help you, and you're like, no, and you don't even think about it, right? You're just kind of like, you're a stranger. I don't know if I can communicate. I don't want to feel stupid, and I don't want to feel like, I don't know what to say or do here. So I'm going to just no, right? Because we just naturally, just as humans, we're just. Most people aren't great at communicating.
Right.
We're just just not a lot of expressive personalities that are just like, I love everybody and everybody's gonna be my
totally
friend.
I was the same exact way when I started, and I'll tell you, and that's how I had these guys start. When we first got together this year, I had everyone. We got Mojo accounts. And I'm like, listen, even though we had the budget
Explain
to
to everybody that has no idea what you just said. What is a Mojo account?
So a Mojo account is basically an account that you use online, mojosells.com. It's an automatic dialer, so you can dial 3 lines at a time. You can upload your listen to it and just hammer the calls out.
So very simply, you have an Excel list with a name, address, phone number.
Yes.
You put it into this website. You press a button, and it calls. And when people pick up, you talk to them.
That's right.
That's it.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, that's the best way, especially if you're someone like me, who I was in sales as a kid, kind of like in clothing stores and stuff, and I was always the worst. I was always the worst salesman, and I'm like, man, I don't know how I'm ever going to make it in sales. But I'll tell you, once you get on Mojo and you press go and you make enough calls, I mean, it just leaves you. You don't worry about that anymore. So you can talk to anyone. Listen, it doesn't matter what they say.
That's it. And I've been talking about that for 4 years. That listen, you have conversations with 1,000 strangers and ask them if they would consider an offer in their property. You can talk to anybody about anything.
Anything.
True.
I mean, it's a skill. I don't care if you're the shyest person in the world and I'm an introvert and this and that and all these different things. Well, listen, I think that most people, I think probably 99% of people are naturally introvert.
Yeah,
it's when you have to get pushed out
Totally
of that
agree.
and have to communicate and have to go and whether it's because you have a goal that you want to accomplish or a dream or whatever else, you need to be able to talk to people.
Absolutely.
And so if you start the process and start building up your experience in that, you're going to get better at it.
Right.
You're going to get better at
Totally
it. I mean,
agree.
your first day, selling versus your 10th year.
Oh, it's night and day. I remember
You're a different person.
I'll never forget my first day in the automotive industry making a cold call.
Yeah.
I was shaking on the phone. I was like,
It's a 500-pound phone.
It's like, would you like to sell? You can't do it. And now it's like I don't even think about it.
Yeah.
It's just it's fluid. It's like I have word tracks. I just know how to handle the objections. It's just everything. It flows nicely. And communication is 90% of communication for people is body.
Yeah.
Body language, body communication. But when you're on the phone, you have to somehow manipulate your voice.
Yes.
Your tone's got to be
your
on point.
tone, and you
Pacing.
portray, and the conversation's a good pace as well. That's how you communicate over the phone, and that's how you get a better sale.
Right.
And it's all about communication. That's all sales is communication. It's a transfer of emotion.
And by the way, everybody, these guys know what they're talking about. In 4.5 months, they've closed 180,000, and they've got 240,000 pending. Okay,
That's
so
right.
let's lay that on the table
Yes.
here.
It's a blessing.
So that people really understand the advantage to having that certainty and that confidence and that optimism to be able to communicate with people in your community.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So how does it work? How does it talk to me about, you've gone the last couple of years by yourself. Now you're
right.
in a partnership.
Yep.
You've got people working. You've got,
Yep.
your whole crew that's here. Like, what does your company look like and how do you stay organized?
Yeah, so we use Podio as our CRM.
Okay.
That really helps us stay organized. And something else that really helped was Amr put together some Google Docs so we can really keep track of all of our deals, what title company they're at. Because, when we first started, everything was on the whiteboard.
Yeah,
And it's like,
take a
man,
picture
it
of
was
the
getting
whiteboard.
very, very, very unorganized. So we were like,
Same with me.
Yeah, so we're like, look, we gotta get on this. So we have Podio as our CRM now. We all work in office every day together. So we all have our own office. We're very close to each other. So
We've dispersed the workload as well. We found that having each one of us do an entire workload didn't work out too well.
Okay.
Now it's more like it's compartmentalized, I
Yeah.
believe. So I handle the acquisitions and then Anthony handles disposition, and then overflow we have our other two partners, Josh and James, to kind of help out as well. Because I physically go on the walkthroughs. Like when I'm on the phone with a client, hey, absolutely, I'll be there at that time. I go. Right then and there.
Yep.
And then I come back with a contract. Here you go. Here's the acquisition form. I fill out. I have paperwork ready to go, so he knows, everything that he needs to dispose of the property as quickly as possible. Because as we all know, time kills deals.
Time kills all deals. Right. We talked about this off air before we started about how you have gone back into the property after there's been multiple showings of a property, gone in and said, you know what, I'm ready to go. Let's put this on. I've got the contract. I mean, listen, it sounds very simple, but it is a huge advantage to carry a contract in the car with you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's definitely slept on.
No. I'm telling you, I would say probably 90% of real estate investors do not have a purchase contract, a purchase agreement in their car.
Right.
I have several just stapled, just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you never know.
You never know.
Well, and listen, the fact is, negotiating comes down to really three things when you're with the seller. It comes down to the price, the terms, and you.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
So, Mr. Seller, do we agree on the price? Okay, we're good on price. Great. What about the terms? Are you cool to have your money in 20 days, 30 days, whatever it is? Okay, great. I've got it going through the title company. You good with that? Okay, great. And really the last thing is just me. Are you comfortable working with me and getting this done?
Yep.
Yes, okay.
That's right.
Well, great. I'll sign it. Why don't you sign it?
Boom. It's easy.
Right?
It's easy.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, coming from the days of, automotive car sales is probably one of the most difficult industries of sales, in my opinion.
Sure.
Coming into real estate and coming out of a depreciating asset and into an appreciating asset, it's in my opinion easier because the asset itself is worth more.
Sure.
As opposed to a car, which everyone knows is going to be worth less.
Right.
So you're trying to convince people, hey, I want you to buy something that's going to be worth less the second you sign the contract.
Right.
So that's kind of difficult, as opposed to our situation. Right. It's opposite.
Yep.
So it does help a little bit.
Awesome.
Yeah, especially like our market too. Like a lot of people, what they come to our market for, a lot of out-of-state people is investment, like rental properties. So a lot of it is like, the cap rates can be ridiculous. You can get 20-30% cap rates if you buy something right. So it's like, with that kind of return, you got a lot of people coming from outside. Yeah. And that's a lot of what we run into too, is like accidental landlords, that's a lot of who we do business with.
What's an accidental landlord?
I'd say someone who, maybe inherited a property, inherited some tenants. Maybe they inherited from a father who was more, hands-on with the tenants. They got the property, and the tenants thought they could take advantage of the now current owner, and they're not paying rent, they're not taking care of the property, this and that, and the people are stuck, and they're like, I don't know what to do. I'm losing money on this thing every month. They haven't paid me rent, and that's when we come in to help.
Love it. Love it. And how are you finding these leads? I mean, you talk about acquisitions. You can't do acquisitions without lead generation. So
talking to people.
Yeah. Well,
Right. That's right. So we have 10 cold callers in Jamaica right now.
Got it.
We have 10 cold callers. We have a web campaign going on. We have a web developer managing that campaign. So we have leads coming in from there. Those are basically our two main lead sources right now. But we are really considering looking into the REI radio. We want to get on the radio. I think our market would be great for the radio, so that's definitely next up for us.
I love it. And you have 10 callers in Jamaica?
10 callers in Jamaica.
How did you find them? And
so it's actually
most people, it's like either you're hiring somebody that is like an American living abroad, or you're going way overseas, right?
So initially, when I was first looking for a cold caller, when I was by myself, I had one on Upwork. I think it might have been something you recommended, to be honest. Yeah. One on Upwork, basically a website where you can just hire freelancers, virtual assistants. So I went on there, and you can search for U.S. or you can search overseas, wherever you want someone to work for you from. And basically, I like Jamaica because, they kind of. They're a little more cultured. They kind of talk more like us, and they're able to communicate with sellers better. That's a lot of that's a big thing with us. Is you want to, like you said, you want to make the seller feel comfortable.
Right.
So they're able to have, I think, smoother conversations in my opinion. Awesome. So basically, I found the one on Upwork. we kind of got out of touch for a while. Then she kind of reached back out to me, and she's like, hey, I started up this company, and I basically hiring a bunch of people in Jamaica, and, we have a center here, and we want to know if you want to be our client. So I'm like, okay, well, if I keep growing, how many callers can you handle? And she's like,
Unlimited.
I'm like, oh, this is perfect. I'm like, okay, this is great. We're going to have a good relationship. So we definitely plan on growing that relationship. We have 10 right now. We're going to double down next month. We're going to have 20. So it's going to start to get really hectic.
And they're getting better and better. I mean, when the lead comes in and it's, hot lead, warm lead, the note taking that, they're asking,
the notes are
clients,
on point.
how long have you owned the property? How long has the roof been? When's the last time you renovated the property? They have gotten some really good notes. It helps me to make the phone call quicker and easier and smoother, and just make that quick cash offer.
So explain to me the process. You take the list, you skip trace it, you put it into Mojo. You hire these callers. They press go on this dialer.
Correct.
They get the leads and send it where?
They send it to Podio.
Okay.
And then it comes to me.
Yep.
And then I see it as a new lead.
Okay.
I see the lead. I look at the lead and I make the phone call.
Okay.
I just make the phone call and talk to the client, the homeowner, and
yeah, but with 10 people, you got to be getting leads like
oh yeah,
I mean,
all the
there's
time.
some days we get 30 leads in a day.
Absolutely.
and you're calling all of them
I'm calling all
Every single
same
one of
day,
them.
and doing your lead follow up.
Yeah,
and appointments.
Absolutely.
It's getting hectic.
Absolutely.
We're pretty busy,
Yeah.
so we're definitely.
No, absolutely.
I think our next we definitely need someone on acquisitions next.
Time to expand.
And we definitely need to get someone to go on walkthroughs. So
Sure.
I think we're killing a lot of time going on walkthroughs. So I think we need to find someone.
Lead time's everything. I mean,
Yeah.
What is that standard? 30-second lead time. You got to answer within 30 seconds. If you get an online lead.
Yep.
2 minutes is like after 2 minutes, it's over.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, the analogy that I love was Todd Toback, one of the best mentors in real estate, and he said, you got to imagine that like your roof is leaking, and you need somebody to come fix this roof. Like right now, your roof is leaking, and you call somebody and they don't answer. You're calling somebody right after,
100%.
and the person that calls you back, you're like, no, I already have
Exactly.
somebody coming out.
Exactly.
That's the mentality you have to
That's
have
exactly
if
right.
you've got incoming
Exactly right.
leads.
Yep.
That's exactly
You
right.
do, especially internet leads.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just one click away. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not even.
Yeah.
They don't even have to type in that many numbers.
Right.
You
All they
know,
got
or
to do is
call,
hit the
they
back
just have-
button, and
yep.
they see 3 other,
Yep.
5 other buyers. So.
Speed, that is huge.
Yeah,
I mean,
speed-
speed to
speed's
that
everything.
lead, especially coming from internet leads, is critical.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
And then so it comes into Podio. You're setting like tasks for follow up.
So
And every day do you open up your computer and you're like, okay, I got 50 calls to make today?
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. So I have immediate follow up. I have long term follow up. I have even dead leads I call sometimes.
Yeah.
Just like leads that are like, oh, they hung up on me. I'll call again, just say, hey, I just want to follow up, just to see where things are with you and your property. But after that, after the lead, I have judged the lead as, hey, this is something that's going to be a good lead. I call them and I speak to the client. I schedule a walkthrough day of. I try to get it the same day or the next, or as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And then I go on the walkthrough and look at the property, and I have a purchase agreement on me at all times. You have to have a purchase agreement. I know a lot of people like to use the DocuSign. That's great, but sometimes that takes time.
Yep.
And again, time kills deals, so
Yep.
I want to close it right then and there.
Love it.
So after that, I come back to the office. I fill out an acquisition form. Sometimes I'll already have one filled out because I know it's going to be a deal. I'll have it filled out, and then I come back to the office and I give my acquisition form to my disposition guy, and he has everything he needs to dispose of the property as quickly as possible.
Got it.
That's right.
So, and then Anthony takes it from there.
That's right. That's right.
So you pretty much just kick back all day long and just wait for him to
No,
bring it in,
you know
right?
what? Disposition, in my opinion,
Yeah.
disposition is the most important part, because acquiring the properties is one thing.
Yes.
But if you can't dispose of them in time,
Yep.
you've got nothing.
Yeah.
I need him.
Well, not only that, it's really interesting in our industry. Some people, pay $100 per dispo because they're like, listen, we're selling discounted properties. Everybody's going to want it. Well, I will counter sure if you want to get the least amount for that property.
Yeah.
I remember when I started bonusing my dispo. So the way that it works in my company is 0 to 15,000, they get 5% of the amount that we make. Right.
Right.
From 15 to 30, they get 7.5. If you sell for over 30,000 that we're making, you get 10%.
Right.
Well, guess what? it took my average from like 16,000 to 28,000 to now
man.
it's 42,000.
Mm-hmm.
So people that want to get, hey, listen, and by the way, he's responsible for building the cash buyer database,
Right.
creating that healthy tension with all of them to sell the deals so that they're not like they're buddy, but they're not too like, hey, give me this deal.
Right,
If you give us the,
Yeah,
if
we
it's
know.
if you're the right one, and if you're gonna be the highest bidder and be the smoothest. But it's a huge advantage to really put a lot of emphasis and focus on Dispo, because listen, the truth is all the systems, all the contact management, all of the things, that's great, but you'll never be able to sell that. The only thing that you can sell, or the only asset that we truly have in our business, is our buyers list. It's our database.
It is.
Absolutely.
That is the thing that is the most valuable.
Yep,
and there
it
are
is,
some
100%.
I mean, there are multi-million-dollar databases in my market here that have been built over 20 years, 25 years, 8 years, whatever it is, but they make so much more than everybody else because they have really taken Disposition serious.
That's where the money comes from.
That's where it is.
Where the money comes
And
from.
then a lot of people, acquisitions it seems like it's a lot,
Right.
And it does sound like it's a lot,
Right.
But disposition, Anthony's got to follow up with title. He's got to follow up with every buyer. Sometimes we have about 8 to 10 buyers going to a property. He has to follow up with every single one of them. Each one of them he has to follow up with. And that's multiple times a day. So it's almost they go hand in hand.
Sure.
You need one for the other. You cannot run this operation.
We were kind of dipping in each other's way in the beginning there. We just kind of got to it's like I was putting on my acquisitions hat, and then I take it off and I put on my dispositions hat,
Right.
and I'm like my brain's crossing. I'm like forgetting things. I'm like, oh my god, and then I'm forgetting stuff. So we're like, you know what? Let's just separate it, and I think it'll run a lot smoother,
Yes.
which it has.
It has.
It's
It
worked
already
out for us,
runs
for sure.
smooth.
Love it.
Yeah, for sure.
Worked out for us.
Yeah.
Who's more analytical?
I would be the analytical.
Okay.
one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
I tend to. I like to put everything in Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Okay.
And put
Crosses his T's and dots his
Yeah,
I's.
I make sure everything, even like the status of the title company.
Sure.
Where is this in
There
title?
has to be somebody.
Has to be.
Has to be somebody. And,
Absolutely.
and listen, if you're out there and you're a solopreneur, or you've got a partnership or whatever else, and you guys are both expressives or drivers or whatever else, find somebody responsible, please. Hire them, and find
right.
somebody that's gonna that loves the numbers and
Yeah,
It'll
loves
save
that.
the day.
Yeah.
It'll save the day.
And it helps everything else go so much smoother.
Absolutely.
Right?
You have to be organized.
That's
it.
You have to.
Yeah.
So, why do you feel? I mean, did you guys grow up knowing that or thinking that you wanted to work for yourselves? That you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
So it's funny you ask. I grew up in a very middle class family. Never really had anything like extra. And my whole family's always worked kind of 9-to-5 jobs, and I always since I was a little kid wanted more, right? So I always wanted more, and I always thought it just didn't add up to me. I'm like, how do I work a 9-to-5 job and be rich, right? And make enough money and this and that, and it's like, man, like then you kind of learn about sales, and it's like, okay, if I can sell X amount of something, that's different than working by the hour.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of putting all these different pieces together. And I remember I used to work at a moving company, and I'll never forget, I just busting my butt like at a long day, and
Like literally moving?
literally
like you're
moving,
packing up
moving
people's
furniture
stuff.
all day long. And I got back. I remember getting back to the shop and just tired all day, and the boss man just kind of walks out in the warehouse, and you hand him the bill. It's like a $5,000 move, and I'm making like $11 an hour, and I just remember it clicking for him, like, man, this guy is hustling me right now.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I'm just, it clicked for me. So I'm
Yeah.
like, man, business ownership, you have to. I wish it was taught more. It's
Yeah.
no one teaches it,
Sure.
except for you guys like you.
Well, I think it's interesting. I think that there's just a small fraction. I think it's not taught because I think we're a minority. We're a
Yeah.
minority that understands from birth till the day we die, we have a certain amount of time,
That's right.
and I would like to have as much control over that as possible.
That's
And I think that's
100%,
what.
yes.
And it took me a
100%
long time to get to that, guys. It took me a long
Yeah.
time to kind of pinpoint what is it. It's the control.
100%.
It's the control. I don't want to control people. I don't
Yeah.
want to control I don't want to be a politician or something.
No, God,
You wanna
no.
control your
but
life.
I
You
want to
wanna control
control
your life.
my lifestyle and
Yes.
control the things. And I even as a little kid, I remember
Yeah.
I was like, wait, why do I have to be there at this time? What am I doing?
Yep.
Why am I?
Yep.
No, I don't want to do that. I want to
Right.
do the things that I liked, then I
Right.
say, hey, listen, if it was something I liked, I was diligent. I was
Yeah.
there. I was committed. I
Absolutely.
was going. But if it was something else, I was like, this, I don't want to do this.
Right.
And it would, you know.
Money is freedom, you know?
Yeah.
It
That's
is.
how I look at
And
it.
it's the same way for me for entrepreneurship. Automotive sales is you're your own business.
Yeah.
Like you have to go out there and grind, make the
yeah.
phone calls. If you're sitting at your desk, not at the door getting ups, you're not selling cars.
It's just like this business. I always said it works if you do.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Works
it.
if you do.
Works if you do.
Exactly. That's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's break down a deal. That's what everybody gets
right,
excited
all right,
about on this
all
podcast.
right.
So, let's put it through the filter of really understanding what's going on. So, tell me how you found it.
Yeah.
Let's start there.
Okay, so you want to talk about 116th?
Yeah, let's do 160. That's a good story.
So we had this property, and it's on a nice street, decent street, and basically there were two ugly houses right next to each other, the only ones on the street.
Okay.
We had an appointment for the one. We go check it out. We contracted it. It did need a lot of work, and we kind of had.
Now, are you just driving and seeing this ugly house? Was this on a property? Like, did you talk to the owner
So-
and then you went to the street? How'd you find this?
So it was a lead that came in from Podio. So
Okay.
it came in. I made
From cold calling.
Cold calling.
Correct, from
Absolutely.
TTP.
Do you remember what list?
Vacant.
Was it? Yeah, it was,
Okay.
a,
It was
a
vacant list.
vacant.
It was a vacant list.
Where do
'Cause
you
it
pull
was a
your
vacant-
vacant list from?
Batch leads. We get all our
Batch
stuff
leads.
from
Batch
batch leads
leads,
right
yeah.
now.
Love
yeah.
it.
So the vacant list came. The vacant lead came in. I made the phone call, scheduled the walkthrough. Next day, went there. I was like, oh my gosh, this is in bad condition.
Yeah, it was rough.
It was
really
rough.
Yeah.
It was really rough. And
I'm sure you can imagine.
yeah, so getting that contract signed, I'm like, okay, all right, let's do this.
Rough, like you can renovate, or rough like it
Like-
needs to be bulldozed?
Like
you got-
close
you-
to being condemned.
You got
Okay.
animal droppings all
Yeah.
over the place. You
Yeah,
got the roof
the
coming
roof-
in,
roof
all that
is-
kind of good stuff.
Needs
Yeah.
replaced, everything.
So basically, we end up contracting that house,
Mm-hmm.
and we were kind of having a hard time selling it. Basically, all our offers came in at what we have it at. So we were kind of having some trouble, and a lot of the buyer feedback we got was, well, I can redo this house and make it look really nice, but it's hard to sell it when there's a boarded up house right next door. It's
Yeah.
not a good sell. So we're like, man, we got to figure out who owns this.
We gotta
thing,
get the
right?
other guy.
Yeah.
So we end up finding out it's owned by an LLC, and usually it's tougher to find who owns an LLC.
Right.
So we did a lot of digging, just kind of Google searching, and we found a couple email addresses for the guy, a couple phone numbers, and we actually called all the phone numbers, didn't work, sent like 5 emails out. One of the emails hit. He replies back. He's like, "Yes, I would sell that property."
So let me like pull on this a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and this is the way that I would do it. I'd say, okay, LLC, and I'm going to go to the Corporation Commission. I'm
Yep.
going to Google
Yeah, that's
Corporation
what- yeah,
Commission,
yep,
Arizona,
yep.
and then I'm going to put online search. Okay, online search. I put the name of the LLC in
Yep,
there,
mhm.
and I see who the managing member is, or who the principal,
Correct,
or who the
yes.
president, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to Google that dude.
Yep.
Or
Yeah.
gal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or that lady, and I'm going to see, okay, are they on LinkedIn? Are they on
Yeah.
Facebook?
Yeah.
Is there email somewhere out there?
Yeah.
And then eventually you kind of, you follow that web down far enough, and you find some way to contact them, whether it be an
Exactly.
email or a phone number. Batch now, obviously skip traces LLCs, but
Right.
it's only
Yeah.
30-40% hit rate. So
Yeah.
for those other 50 to 60%, you gotta do a little
Yeah,
digging.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm telling you, to this day, for 17 years, I have found every single contact that I've looked for.
Is that right?
If you dig deep enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I
for
believe
sure.
it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
I mean,
For sure.
the internet is a powerful machine.
it is.
Yeah. It
really
Everything's
is.
on there.
Yep.
Everything.
Yep.
Yeah. So he
Yeah.
calls. He emails me, the owner of this property next to the one we had contracted.
Mm-hmm.
So he emails me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, please call me. Here's my cell. Calls me, and then we meet up, and we meet at the property, and we agree. I had a purchase agreement. We agreed on the number. We got
Now, what's
that.
the condition? So this is boarded
This one
up.
is also boarded up and pretty much close to looking condemned. As
same condition.
same condition.
Okay.
And so we were there when we were getting that contract signed, and then neighbors started showing up. Mm-hmm. The neighbors like, "What are you guys doing? Are you?" And we're like, we hate these two houses. All the houses on the street are beautiful. It's a perfectly nice street.
Yeah.
Except for these two houses.
Yeah.
And the community's
Yeah.
like, hey, we're really interested in what you guys doing. Are you guys getting rid of these? You buying these? You fixing these up? We're like, we're in the process of, putting these houses and getting them to either, revitalize them
Uh-huh.
or, we'll figure out how we want to make it go from there.
Yeah.
And it's just funny seeing the community wanting to.
Oh,
Yeah.
They want to get them out of there.
That's that's the thing, right? That's the collateral effect that you have. It's really interesting, and I almost feel like this on my own neighborhoods that I've lived at before. Is I was like, okay, I can go after this property. The only issue is if for some reason I offend them or I bug them, I have to live by them. Or I have to live by a property that they own. So it was always like, that was the only time that I'd be a little bit hesitant myself. I'm the talk to people guy. Like, I would knock on every door in the world except for on my street. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of neighbors feel that internally. They're like, you know what? I don't want to rock the boat and offend these people, but we need to do something about this property.
Right.
And I don't want to be a jerk that goes over there and starts something. And then they see you guys. And then all of a sudden you're like, knights in shining armor.
Yeah, literally here to
right.
save the day.
Yeah.
That's what they were like, oh my gosh, you guys are great. And we're like, thanks. But we're doing our best.
And people are like, I mean, you can't find discounted property. You can't buy properties at a discount. Not in this market. You guys are just going out there and doing it every day.
So
here's the kicker.
Yeah. So the seller ends up having another property on the same street. So
The guy we hunted down.
the guy we hunted down.
Yep.
So he had the one next to the other one that we had, right? And then he had a whole separate one on the same street, just down the street a little bit. Great property, nice looking property. Just wanted to get rid of it. He's like, man, I've been a landlord. I'm done with it. This is what I want. So we end up contracting that one too.
Yeah.
And we ended up selling all those.
All three.
All three of them. We sold the two together as a
Okay.
package next to each other, and then we sold the other one completely separate.
So what did you make on the package, and then what did you make total?
On the package, we made about $30,000, 15 from each house, and then on the one down the street, that was a $72,000 assignment.
What? Wait.
Yeah, $72,000.
72. So
Yeah.
you made. So let's look at this. You made $102,000 of your Jamaican cold caller calling a vacant list that you got from batch leads, sending it to you not being able to make as much as you wanted to on this deal.
That's right.
So you have to go down and research the next door neighbor,
Yep.
find their info, send them an email. They email you back, get that one under contract, get the other one down the street. This is what happens when you're proactive.
That's what happens.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
what
This is what happens
Yeah,
when you're
that's
proactive.
right.
$102,000. Come on.
Yes, sir. I've been
Come
waiting for
on.
this one.
I love it. I love it. That's what it's about. I mean, this is real
right.
life. Guys, everybody out there, if you're listening to this and you want to watch this, certainly put a face with a voice. Check it out on Brent Daniels' YouTube channel. But holy cow. I mean, that's what it is. I mean,
That's
that is the process. If you can get over those internal fears that you have, if you can get over the little things stopping you, the little things pulling you back that's telling you can't do this, use Anthony and Amr here as inspiration to say, holy cow, if these guys can do it, so can I.
Anyway, if we can do it, anyone can do it.
If we can
I
do
promise
it,
you that.
anyone can do it.
For real, right? I
Totally.
mean,
That's it.
that's what it is about. So use this as fuel. Like, keep pouring that fuel in that fire. Because listen, people aren't going to be listening to this if they don't have that fire in their belly for real estate investing,
That's
for
right.
being an entrepreneur, for having control of their schedule. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now you guys are on a trajectory. I mean, your first year in it, you did 50, 60. Your second
That's right.
year, you did 100.
Yep.
Now you've already got 180 closed, 240 pending, and a machine running.
Yeah.
How's it feel?
It's not done yet.
Right.
It's not done yet.
Yeah.
I
Feels
feel like-
great, though.
I feel like we're just getting started. And it's funny how I haven't really put all those kind of numbers together until I knew I was going to be on the podcast today, and I was kind of thinking about it. I'm like, man, we have come a long way, and it just feels like a blessing. It really does. And
Yeah.
I just feel so blessed that I have such a good group of guys with me, and we're all like-minded. No one's
Yeah.
greedy.
It's cohesive.
It's all
It really
we're all
is.
on the same page, and we all work
Awesome.
very well together.
Awesome.
So I couldn't be more thankful for that.
And just remember, it's the journey that's the most important. You
Right.
know what I mean? The
Yeah.
goals are great, but once you hit them, now you got to just increase them.
You gotta
right?
embrace the grind.
It's the journey. It's this group. It's
Yeah.
the having this with your friends and
Yep.
and potentially your family and everybody, and
Yep.
being a magnet for people that see how excited you are, and you all of a sudden you have all this energy. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if you spent the next 10 years loading up people's furniture and delivering them and everything, and just the lights would be out of your eyes.
Who knows where I'd be?
Yeah, you know what I mean? I mean, it would just be.
Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's just we have paths in life, and then you
yeah.
just get to be able to do it. So
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
incredible,
Yep.
So
awesome.
Yeah.
So how do people get a hold of you? How do people reach out to you if you're in Cleveland, and
Our website.
You can reach out to me on Instagram if you're on Instagram, at3314. You can send me an email.
say it again.
at3314.
There you go.
You can send me an email at Anthony@CashMyHome. And you can check out our website, cashmyhome.com.
Yep.
And you definitely get in contact with us that way.
Awesome, guys. Thank you for being here.
Thanks
for
a
coming
pleasure,
into
man.
town.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for seeing
Thank
us.
you so much.
Absolutely incredible. Guys, reach out to him, especially if you want to squat up. If you're in Cleveland and you're like, I don't know anybody, I don't know, I want to do this business, but my family doesn't do it. My friends don't have any idea. They think I'm crazy. Don't stay on that island by yourself. Go reach out to these guys, DM Anthony, and connect and just squat up and maybe joint venture on some deals or do some business together.
Absolutely. We're here to help.
Yep.
Awesome. And that's it, guys. A couple resources. You talked about batch leads, batchleads.io. You use the coupon code TTP. You have 5,000 property addresses that you can download for free. So batchleads.io, definitely check that out. Use the coupon code TTP. And if you are interested in joining the most proactive group in real estate investing, it is the TTP family. It is the TTP program. Go to wholesalinginc.com/TTP. That's wholesalinginc.com/TTP. Scroll down, check out what the program's about, check out what all the testimonials are about. You're going to have to scroll for a while. A while. But if it feels good in your gut, sign up for a strategy call. We look forward to talking to you. And that is it. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you for having us on.
Yeah, thank you.
And as always, I sign off and encourage everybody to talk to people. Love you guys. See ya.